Good morning and welcome to the Berry County Board of Commissioners meeting for March 10th, 2026. Would commissioners, staff, and guests please rise for our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. This morning I would like to take a moment of silence for our dearly departed Russ Yarger, who was a drain commissioner for Berry County for many years. He was also on the Freeport Fire Department and Public Works. So we remember his work and dedication to the county. Also, I'd like us to keep in mind a moment of silence for our victims down in Union Lake and Three Rivers who experienced the tornadoes last week. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. For purposes of attendance, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Bassett. Here. Carlton.
Here.
Campbell.
Here.
Getty. Here. Hatfield.
Here.
Smelker.
Here.
Tunison.
Here.
And Jackson.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Reports from state and county officials. Are there any state or county officials with us this morning who'd like to give an update to the board? Hearing none, limited public comment. At this time, any member of the public wishing to address the board may do so for up to 3 minutes for any items listed on our agenda.
Good morning, Rick Moore, Harbor Master of the Podunk Lake Yacht Club. I see we got a list in here. I think the dam went in. My grandfather built the house around 1956. I remember the waterfront was quite a ways away, so it might have been before that dam was built. And it's probably about time that dam is checked occasionally. And a few years ago, we had a bubbler system at the lake for weed abatement. And I thought it worked wonderfully. Instead of dumping a boatload of chemicals in the lake, we had a bubbler system. But we couldn't get a discount on the electricity. We couldn't get a farm discount or commercial discount. It was a residential rate. And so the electric bill was outrageously high. And that's why we don't have the bubbler system anymore, I have been told. But it's very important to take care of the lake and the lakefront and that kind of stuff for everyone's benefit. So even though I've got a little tiny 2-bedroom house on the lake and their taxes are $4,000 a year, we definitely need to have a weed abatement and monitor the care of that dam, because we've had adjacent property owners taking care of it for years, but they just did maintenance. They couldn't do repairs. So Jim, thanks for looking into that, and this is Rick Moore, not related to any other Moores, and thank you for your support.
Thank you. And that was Podunk Lake he was referring to, which is on our agenda today. Additional public comment? Hearing none, approval of the written agenda. At this time, any member of the Board of Commissioners may ask for an item to be removed from the consent agenda and placed under items for consideration. Hearing no such request, does any commissioner wish to change the agenda additionally? Hearing no such request, the agenda is approved as written. Various correspondence. Does any commissioner have correspondence they'd like to share with the board? Okay. Consent agenda. Commissioner Campbell.
I move for the approval of February 24th, 2026 Board of Commissioners meeting minutes.
Is there support? Support. Motion by Campbell, support by Hatfield for all items listed on the consent agenda. Discussion is not allowed and a roll call vote is required. All those in favor vote aye, opposed vote nay. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Getty. Aye. Smelker.
Aye.
Tunison.
Aye.
Bassett. Aye. Carlton.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Hatfield.
Aye.
And Jackson.
Aye. The consent agenda is approved. Presentations. This morning we have Rachel France with us, a recycling coordinator, to go through the annual report.
Hi. All right. So my name is Rachel France. If you don't know me already, I'm the recycling coordinator for the county. So next slide. These are just our metrics to date. I won't spend too much time reading it. We've awarded 7 mini grants totaling, sorry, now my slides don't want to work. Oh well. We spent some money. We allocate $20,000 a year for these mini grant programs to reduce waste throughout the county, and we've awarded a few of those, so I'll talk about those in a minute. I've attended quite a few meetings, and we've gotten $124,000 in grant funding for the county. We have applied for an additional $308,200, including the Eagle Recycling Infrastructure Grant for just under $200,000 to purchase and install 3 cardboard compactor units throughout the county, another $6,000 scrap tire collection, and $103,000 for continued MMP development. Next slide. Oh, never mind, you're already there. So instead of giving you a separate annual report for the material management planning group, I just included it in this presentation so you can see there our revenue was just under $122,000, the majority of that coming from tipping fees from the landfill, as well as grants. Those grants have not been actually paid to us yet, but we have requested reimbursement from Eagle. So we're waiting on those. We've spent just under $150,000, mostly on the hazardous waste events, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. $5,900 last year in deer removal, just under $40,000 in administration, which is me, and then $12,500 in our MMP consultant, which is Fishback. Next slide, and then next slide again. So these are an overview of the mini grants that we've released. The most recent one is to the Hastings Public Library for new drinking water or bottle refill stations at their library. Oh, there's where my number is. So just over $28,000 in the past few years for that. Next slide, and next slide again. So I also provide assistance to local units of government, and I'm available for meetings to initiate new programs, help them with getting their information out for their programs, and then anything really that they request. Next slide. So this last year, we had 2 mini grants between 25 and 26. One was for the Yankee Springs Recycling Committee, so we helped pay for a new concrete pad and an additional bin, so that way they don't have any more dry runs, which is when they would have to go pick up a full bin, bring it, empty it, and then bring that empty bin back. So this way they have another bin so they can replace that instead of, so there's no time where there's not a bin, and they're never transporting an empty bin except for when they're bringing one to be filled. Next slide. So I just got a picture yesterday of their actual refill station. It looks almost identical to this, but swapped. So they just installed that on March 4th. They said they've already had quite a few people using it. Everybody's pretty excited about it, so that's our newest grant. There. Household hazardous waste. I know this is kind of the thing everybody cares about. So in 2025, we disposed of over 65,000 pounds of hazardous waste, including 23,588 pounds of electronic waste and over 7,000 tires, which in my time, that's a record for us. We overfilled our tires in the spring and had to turn people away, and then we again filled trailers in the fall. We couldn't do this, next slide, without the help of our amazing volunteers. We had over 79 volunteers and staff at those events in 2025. The TK football team handles the tires for us, and they did an amazing job, and this really is dirty work that it's very hard to get people to do. So we're really thankful for them. We're really thankful for everyone who comes and helps, as well as the participants. Next slide. We did have dedicated staff in the fall with the registrations, checking registrations, and also asking for donations. So because of that, we brought in quite a few more donations than we normally do. Our electronic weights were they pretty much stay the same. It's always mostly TVs as far as the weight goes, and that's also what costs the most money. So we'll go into that a little bit more. Next slide. In this graph, this is just electronics collections, so you can see the cost in blue The light green is donation, so you can see that last event was like way up there. And then the dark green is grants. So we did have a 2-year grant with Eagle for the electronics, which really did help offset that cost, but you can see the gaps in the years that we didn't have grants, with the exception of last fall. Next slide. The additional, or the annual hazardous waste cost, this is broken down into tires, hazardous waste, and electronics. So hazardous waste is always the most expensive, which is because these materials are hazardous, they're toxic, they're flammable, they cannot be disposed of in a landfill, so it's really important that we get them to the right place. This cost does continue to rise, as you can see. The tire cost has risen as well, but not as dramatically. Electronics stays a little, it fluctuates because we do work with PADNOS, so we get paid for a lot of those materials. Next slide. So this is cost versus revenue at events. Again, that the highest one is the hazardous waste cost. The tire grant covers the tires almost completely, with the exception of last spring because the grant came in late, so we had to pay out of pocket for that. And then the electronics, we try to get the donations to cover that, but it doesn't always. So again, hazardous waste is the highest. Next slide. This one is by event, so you can see again the weight in the bars and the cost on the back side. Cost is continuing to rise while weights are actually starting to decrease, which is good news for us, except for the cost. Next slide. Now this one is by year, so the weights again are on those bars. So I did put a trend line in the dark green, and the weight is decreasing, but the cost in the blue is increasing at a much higher rate than our weights are decreasing. For this reason, our planning committee has decided to drop down to 1 event per year. Next slide. This is partially also because we have this agreement with Kalamazoo, so we have the availability for our residents to utilize that site, and they are open throughout the week, every week, including the second Saturday of the month, excluding a couple months, which I can't think of right now. We spent just over $6,000 in 2025 and allocated $7,500 for 26 for this. And then they did send us this nice little map that shows where all of the residents are coming from, which I was pretty surprised to see so many northern residents visiting Kalamazoo because it's, in the south. Next slide. So for 2026, like I said, we're just going to have the 1 event. We just got all our bids in yesterday for that, so the committee will be reviewing those bids next Friday and deciding who we'll be going with, which will also be deciding which date. So it's either going to be May 2nd or October 3rd, and we are extending the hours from 9 to 3 p.m. We're going to ask for registrations again. So that QR code will just bring you to the hazardous waste page. But the registration's not open quite yet. Additionally, we are working on an agreement with Kent County for our residents to utilize the Safe Ken Byron Center site, which is open on Mondays from 8:30 to 11:30. We're going to do a voucher program for that, so they're still figuring that out. We should be able to get that going in May. So I will post that on the website, in the news, like in the reminder, and then also on the social media pages. Outreach and education, this is not new. I do the same things kind of every year. I do my monthly column, I do Family Science Night, the Earth Day Expo, which is April 25th at the high school. And I post on social media and all of that. Next slide. This is just kind of an image of all those things, so I also keep up to date the recycling guide. Next page. So I did stop printing the guides because the cost just got too high, and really as soon as it's printed, it's already out of date. So we figured we'd keep it online, so we've got a digital PDF on the website, and then we also have the searchable database. So where it's circled there, you can type in whatever you're looking for, and then it will auto-populate whatever matches that, and will show you your disposal, recycling, donation options. Next page, next page. All right, the material management grant. So we requested $40,000 for year 1. We spent $38,075, and that was on Fishback, and then we also started putting my time on there to kind of lessen what was happening on our budget. Moving forward, we are not going to do that. We're just going to do the Fishbeck contract, and then I put a little bit of money in there for outreach because we will be having a public comment for our draft proposal. So after the $63,000 that we're requesting this year and the $40,000 that we've already requested, we will still have $290,600 left for implementation of that plan to be spent in 2027 through 2029. Next slide. This is just the timeline from Fishbeck to see that we're moving along as scheduled. Next slide. The Material Management Planning Committee has just established or set their goals at the last month's meeting. So now we're working on implementation. Next slide. We are still waiting on the numbers from Eagle to get our actual recycling rate, so we expect those anytime, hopefully soon. But right now, our recycling rate, I think, was sitting at like 5%, which we know is much higher than that. So next time I present, I'll have some good numbers for you. And then the Material Management Planning Survey. This is one way that we're doing public outreach. If you have not completed this survey yet, you can scan the QR code there or visit us online at berrycountyrecycles.org. Next slide. We've had 206 responses so far. Almost every municipality has been represented except for the villages of Freeport and Woodland, which are very small villages, so numerically it does make sense. The majority of respondents own their own home and they are single-family homes. Next slide. I asked people how they're currently managing their waste. 91% have curbside trash. The other ones either dropped off trash at a landfill or a transfer station. And then the other majority are donating their usable goods like things to Goodwill or returning cans. This is just another way that I displayed the data, so you can see the return and donate is really the vast majority, with curbside trash coming in second. Food and yard waste is a much smaller portion, which is to be expected. We don't have really any compost food waste. That is options out here. We do have some yard waste. Next slide. I asked people what the barriers were, and I was a little surprised with this one. It was pretty even throughout. Availability of service was not surprisingly the most common answer. We do have a lot of areas that don't have this option available, so that's something that we'll be working on with the MMP. But the second highest was the lack of trust in recycling, which is also not too big of a surprise, so that's something that we really need to focus on with our outreach and education, so I'll be working on that. Next slide. Then I asked people their priorities for the material management plan, and this is kind of, to me, the most important. So the green dots are the answers that were high priorities, yellow is medium, red is low. The first one, you can't see the yellow because it's like right underneath the red. So that first one is curbside recycling. So again, unsurprisingly, that was the highest priority for most people. Next slide. So I took those numbers and I weighted them. So I gave each high priority 10 points, medium 5, and low 1. And I sorted it, so curbside recycling access, recycling drop-off, and permanent household hazardous waste site came in the top 3, which matched pretty closely to our current goals, and then also our previous goals that we did through the Material Management County Engagement Grant. Next slide. Finally, for that, I asked what people would be willing to do or pay for. So for curbside recycling, I asked if people would be willing to pay for a millage, a special tax kind of millage. I didn't know exactly how to word that, but millage seemed like what other people are doing, or a subscription. And then I weighted those answers. So on the bottom, the blue graph, you can see subscription came out quite a bit higher than the millage, which also not super surprising. And then I asked how much people would be willing to pay. This one I was a little surprised. People were actually willing to pay a lot more than I thought. There's still quite a few people that said 0, but some of those people that said 0 put in their comments it's because they already have it. So I didn't remove those from the numbers, but I thought that's worth noting. But it seems like people are willing to pay, and this is an annual payment. Next slide. So moving forward for the rest of this year, we'll continue drafting that material management plan, getting that public input and comment period. Our meetings are open to the public, by the way. And then also implementing the priorities on that plan, which cardboard was one of our higher priorities, it's kind of low-hanging fruit, everybody's got it, especially the commercial sector. So we thought those cardboard compacting units would be a great solution to that, collect a high volume of materials, and reduce the amount of stuff going into the landfill. I'll continue going for grants. I already applied for all of those grants. The scrap tire, we're going to talk about in a minute. And then I'll continue my outreach and education. Next and last slide. So thank you so much. I hope that was short enough. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
That was impressive based on the amount of information. How
Tried to be fast.
Quickly we went through it. That was very good. Questions from commissioners? Getty, would you like to lead?
I thought, we've given a lot of thought to how to do the household hazardous waste collections, and with the rising costs of holding the events, but really still being mindful that people have these materials, and we want to make sure that they're disposed of properly. So the commissioners know that we've discussed this quite a bit, in our meetings, because we're conscious of the cost of it. And Rachel's done a great job of coming up with solutions for that, with the drop-off north and south of Berry County for residents when they can do that. When they have it, they don't have to stockpile it and remember the day. And then the second thing is that people really, I was one of Danielle and I were the people collecting donations in line, and I was really surprised at how willing people were to pay for it. And the only difference was that we asked. Before that, we just basically had a jar at the electronics table, and some people would remember to pay their $10 and some people wouldn't. But it just means that people are willing, to help out. They so appreciate the opportunity to do it. The scheduling made a big difference, so that there wasn't such a huge backup in the fairgrounds and even out to 37. So that made a huge difference. So Rachel's just doing a great job, which we all know, but some of these things are really starting to make a difference.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hatfield.
Well, I also want to compliment Rachel. She's doing a great job, and I think we've made some wonderful progress. She was being very diplomatic in her comments about Eagle. Eagle right now, frankly, is a train wreck. They're very good in getting out requirements for what we need to do, how we need to do it, and supposedly are willing to pay for it, and the cash never shows up. I heard the same thing last night attending a city council meeting. They've got an approved Eagle grant for some substantial work on the water system, and they've been waiting for a long time for that money to show up, and it's a sizable enough project that cash flow means that the work is going to be delayed until Eagle comes through with that grant, and it's a mess.
Trying to stay positive.
But it's hard to stay positive when you look at the delays. I mean, Fishbeck is who we have retained as a consultant to help with the development of the materials management plan. It was a requirement of Eagle to hire an outside consultant to make sure that the plan was done right. And they committed to paying for it. Well, the work's getting done, but we haven't seen any cash yet.
Not yet.
Commissioner Tennyson.
I want to thank you too, Rachel, really seriously, what you do. I know you've reached out to townships with cardboard recycling. I'm just curious on how that's going, if you had any response back from them.
Yeah. So we applied for 3, and we were looking at multiple. I had quite a few different places. So right now we only have 2 confirmed, which will be the Village of Nashville and then Johnstown Township. So we're still looking for a 3rd. So,
Yeah, 'cause I've heard it in every one of my townships.
Oh,
They've
good.
talked about it, so I know they're kicking it around.
Oh, good.
So,
I'm glad to hear that. Because we did also, and I don't know if initially when I reached out, I didn't we didn't know this, but the committee did decide to do a $1,000 stipend for the cost of like electricity of the machine and just general, surveillance and things like that. So if you want to tell your communities that additional information, I think that would help.
Yeah, great, thanks.
Mr. Chair?
Thank you. Mr. Colton?
On that subject, now that you have a site for Nashville, are you still looking at the Woodland area for the third site?
I am, yeah. Just because that area doesn't have a lot of other options for cardboard that I'm aware of. I know that curbside is available over there, but as far as commercially, it would be good to have more cardboard options.
So I've mentioned this to both Woodland Village and Woodland Township. Will you be coming out there for a visit to talk about this?
I could. I don't know when we'll hear back on this grant. It is an Eagle grant. So, but I could do that if you think that would be helpful.
Oh, it would definitely be helpful.
Absolutely. I will set that up then.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Questions from commissioners? Commissioner Bassett?
Do you know what time the Kalamazoo recycling station is open? People are asking me. I know you can go online and find it, and I'll do that.
Offhand,
Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and the second Saturday of the month, but I didn't know.
there are various hours. It should be in your packet on that slide. I don't know if it'll be big enough for you to read. It should be, but
Okay.
yeah, I think it was like, yeah, I'm not even going to pretend like I know.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I can check, because people are asking that. By the way, this is a beautiful report.
Oh, thank you.
You are doing a phenomenal job. What a difference that's making in our county. Thank you.
Glad to hear it.
Okay, Commissioner Campbell?
Hi, Rachel. Yeah, Rachel does a phenomenal job. We're so fortunate that we've come into her space and she's helping us here as the county. I really appreciate all the work she does. But more importantly, I appreciate the fact that we have a board of commissioners here that understand that recycling is our only way of survival in the future. For a long time, it's been kind of put on the back burner and everything, but I can really see it's going in the right direction. It's in the conversation at my townships, and people are talking about it, which they never talked about before, and I think it explains that the additional cost on it is what kind of price do we put on our survival in the future? So I think that's what a lot of people are looking at too. I know personally that's what I look at. So I'm just glad we got this program going. It's a beautiful job up here. I'm sure it took much, much more time to put it together than to present it, obviously. So there's a lot of work there. Appreciate all you do.
I'm so sorry. I forgot to add that for hazardous waste, we're going to have foam recycling. I don't know why you just prompted that, but yeah, I worked with Dart Container, so we'll have styrofoam recycling at this event as well, and that'll be in the advertisements going out soon.
The good news is styrofoam's a lot lighter than TVs.
It sure is. So, volunteers though, we'll still need more volunteers. It's easy work.
I will not be working the foam recycling. I can tell you that. I'll ask for money.
There you go. You're good at that, so I'll leave you to it.
Rachel, you had mentioned our revenue was... Exciting things happening below us, I
Yeah.
guess. Revenue for last year was $122,000.
Yes.
Is the trend flat line? Is it going up? Is it going down? I know at one point there was some conversation about Granger and how they were taking more of that stuff back towards Lansing versus using our local landfill, and that was going to affect tipping fees.
Yes, but then we also do, well, I'm not sure actually legislatively where it's at now, but tipping fees were supposed to be going up, and we are working on a new landfill host agreement, which I think we'll be talking about at the next meeting. Never mind, April. Eventually, not today. So, yes, the landfill tipping fees has been trending down, but with the grants, the revenue should be starting to trend back upwards. But, yeah, because Granger is taking a lot of that waste out of our county, that part is trending downward.
Okay. And then you had mentioned $290,000 to spend in that grant from 27 to 29. That's primarily for consultants and implementation of the plan?
That, we shouldn't need any more consultants after
Okay.
that. So with the funding that I requested for 26 and 27, that'll cover the remainder of Fishbeck's funding, their contract. So the implementation, that'll be more like boots on the ground, actual materials, drop-off sites, things of that nature. So based on what our plan comes together and looks like, whatever goals and implementation strategies we have in there, those will be what the money is going to go towards. But it should be mostly physical, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And lastly, this is the million-dollar question. How many old TVs are left in this county?
Oh, I would
They
love
just
to
keep
know.
coming.
I know, we get so many really cool box TVs that are so heavy.
Oh, yeah.
And I know some of my volunteers are getting pretty tired, so I think there's some more. We'll see. But I do want to say, like, if your TVs, if they're not box TVs, if they're flat screen TVs and they work, please donate them. Do not bring them to recycling. They don't need to be recycled. I get a lot of people that say, this works. I'm like, well, I don't want it then.
Do you think going to one event per year for hazardous waste is going to impact our tire collection or tire removal in the county?
It may. I did ask for 5 trailers for this event instead of 3. So we will be able to accept a lot more tires than we normally can. And if we need to, we could, if that's something the county needs, we can do a separate just tire event. But yeah, there's also TVs and tires. There's an endless supply. I don't know where they're coming from.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, we appreciate you. I was on the solid waste committee for a while as well. Appreciate seeing the progress being made over the several years. I don't know how many years you've been with us, but it's certainly, we've turned the corner on what it is, so, you know, since you've been started. So we appreciate your effort. Great presentation, a lot of information, so.
Thank you.
That'll be fantastic for people to review as well, especially the public outreach as far as the Kalamazoo area, and if we get Kent County set up, just some options, maybe that'll also lessen some of that as well.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're thinking and hoping.
And any other questions from commissioners?
I just
Okay.
got a comment. I just want to thank Rachel for what she does, and also the football team, because that tire job has got to be a nasty job.
It is. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw how dirty they were.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
So anyways, while you're up here and doing such a great job, if you would like to go over the approval of memorandum of understanding for Eaton County,
Yes.
you can do that now as well.
Absolutely. So every year, with the exclusion of 1 year, since I've been doing this, we have worked with Eaton County. They write the grant for us. We just give them our information for the scrap tire collection grant. It is a direct pay grant, so we request the money from Eagle. We tell them how many tire trailers we need, and then Eagle pays the tire hauler directly. So like I said, we're requesting 5 trailers this year. The memorandum of understanding should look exactly like it did last year and the year before that. I haven't received it yet, but the grant just opened up, so we're trying to get everything pulled together in preparation for that application.
Yeah, this is something we've done on a continuing basis, so any questions on the MOU? Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion for approval of the memorandum of understanding with Eaton County for 2026 Eagle Scrap Tire Grant and authorize the chair to sign it.
So moved. Hatfield.
Support.
Motion by Hatfield, support by Tunison for approval of the memorandum of understanding with Eaton County for 2026 Eagle Scrap Tire Grant and authorize the chair to sign it. Discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Hempel.
Aye.
Getty. Aye. Smelter.
Aye.
Tennyson.
Aye.
Bassett.
Aye.
Carlton.
Aye.
Hatfield.
Aye.
And Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Rachel. Next up, we have a presentation from Patrick Jansen, Emergency Management, with our Storm Ready Community designation.
Morning. How are we doing?
Good morning.
All right, well, I don't have a PowerPoint. I'm actually skipping class this morning to be here for this presentation. I'm in a training all week, and I said I need to be here for this. So thank you for your time, and you have the application there that I sent over. That's just the blank. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Despite recent events that Commissioner, or Chairman Jackson mentioned with down south. This meeting was intentionally planned for today because I wanted to bring awareness to next week, which is Severe Weather Awareness Week. And so it was timely that we have this presentation, this designation, and, well, recent events, obviously, forthcoming. So before we present those, before I have them come, National Weather Service come up, I want to touch on a couple of things. We are seeing severe weather earlier in the season. When I looked at records, it looked like March 4th was one of the earliest tornadoes that we've experienced in Michigan. And is that accurate, or pretty close to it?
Close,
Yeah, so this weekend's events were not the earliest, but we are seeing them earlier in the season due to climate shifts and such. And I don't want to, Nathan can talk more about that, but we're also seeing them with more frequency. So we did have one last year in Berry County. Portage had a pretty devastating one 2 years ago, and we saw a couple more of them in Allegan, and they're all around us, right? So this isn't going away, right? It's going to continue to increase. With that, we have a couple of training opportunities that I wanted to mention. Berry County Emergency Management partners with Allegan County Emergency Management and the National Weather Service to put on a storm spotter training annually. So this year, it's actually coming up next month on April 18th, and that will be at Martin High School. That is where one of the tornadoes went last year. So I do have a flyer for that. I will pass that around here. There's just one flyer. You can scan it with your phone. There's a QR code on that as well. If you have other questions, obviously reach out to me about it. It's just a basic awareness class for people that are not familiar with weather preparedness and that type of thing. Additionally, we have a couple other FEMA classes coming up in Portage where they have the 2024 tornado. Barring that they don't cancel them because of the federal funding and shutdowns, I just got notification this morning that a couple of my classes in Allegan County were canceled because of that. But these ones are coming up on April 22nd and 23rd. This is a winter weather hazard preparedness and awareness course, and then a tornado awareness course. So timely opportunities. And then with that, I want to just talk about how we got here today. And many of us have been working on, I'll get 1 second, sorry, back up 1 minute. So the other thing too, with the county buildings, we've been having lots of conversations with the campus security. We also installed weather radios, several weather radios throughout the buildings, and so we do have those in place as well already. And we encourage that people have layers of redundancy using both their wireless emergency alerts over your phones, your cell phones, using rave notifications. Those can be you can sign up through those with dispatch, using texting a phone number 77295 to Berry 911. Vice versa, Berry 911 to 77295. And then also using those weather radios and credible media posts from sources like the National Weather Service. There's a lot of AI stuff out there on social media that is just, it's not real, it's fake, okay? There's a lot of reels, and if you've seen those on there, they showed one from Union City with radio traffic, 100% fake, all of it, all right? So just make sure that you're getting credible information through credible sources. I only share everything from the National Weather Service in Grand Rapids, so just be careful with that. All right, and now to get to our presentation. So the Storm Ready application was actually submitted back in December. I met with Nathan, I don't know, one day in a flurry, and he walked through it. We were able to put that application together. And it didn't happen by accident. It is actually kind of a culmination of a lot of planning that actually was initiated by my predecessor, Jim Yarger. And with the updating of our emergency operations plan, we were able to actually finalize and see that through to completion. So I just want to make sure that this isn't all about me. Jim also started this, and we were able to make sure that this got finished. We were able to do this through strong collaborations with our partners, such as the National Weather Service and our Central Dispatch, as well as our amateur radio or auxiliary communications group. All right. So with that, I'll ask Nathan Jeruzel from the National Weather Service to come up and talk a little bit about storm ready designation and what that means.
Thank you very much, Patrick, and thank you for allowing me to come speak here today, Commissioners. So my name is Nathan Jeruzel, as Patrick mentioned. I'm a senior meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Grand Rapids. Have been there for about 24, 25 years, and have been in the Weather Service for about 27. So we're here today to talk about Storm Ready. It sounds like a great word, but you might ask, what is Storm Ready? What makes a Storm Ready community or Storm Ready county? And what it is it's actually a fairly simple set of steps, but they're very complicated steps. And so the first step is that the community or the county can receive the information regarding severe weather. And Patrick and Jim before receives messages today, for example, with the severe weather possible from here south, especially tonight. We're sending messages out to kind of give everybody a heads up on that. So it's kind of like the ready step. And so they're able to get that information. Or it might be that there's a warning, different things like that. So the first step is that the entity can get that information to start with. The second step with that is that the community or the county can send that information out in a force multiplying sense to all the community. And Patrick mentioned RAVE, many different things. And as the population in a community or county goes up, we ask that there's more redundancy just in case that some people might not get it through certain ways or in case something fails. And so that ensures that that message gets out to people. The other step is that they can monitor the situation. That might be through a subscription to a radar situation, or just different observations around the area, or just staying in contact with the National Weather Service and getting those updates so that the emergency management can send out those updates to the citizens of the community or the county here. And so those three steps have been accomplished, again, with Mr. Yarger and then Mr. Jansen's here through their efforts and through all the other people that work with them in the county. And in addition, we want to also put a little bit of responsibility on the people, and that is like with the No Weather Radio. No Weather Radio is a little bit older technology, but it's very simple, and it works in many different situations that maybe the modern technology doesn't. We equate No Weather radios to like a smoke detector, and we actually talk about that when the time changes, like we just had. People talk about, checking different things, smoke detector and the batteries in that. Same thing with the No Weather Radio. It's something that will alert. And thankfully we have smartphones too. But again, that redundancy is there, so that ensures that those messages can get to people and save lives. You look at the situation in Union City just over the past week. Unfortunately, there was 4 people that passed away. I do feel that with the National Weather Service, and I'm a little biased, but with the warnings that were issued that day, we saved countless lives. And that includes, Berry County, not necessarily that day, but in the different situations. And as Patrick mentioned, the weather is getting more stronger, and Berry County, being in the southern part of Michigan, is right on the verge of that stronger weather that usually happens. It's going to be on the verge of it tonight, or on the periphery of it tonight. Thankfully, I think most of it's going to stay south of here, but we still are going to be watching that, the 24/7 coverage that the National Weather Service has. So with all of those different steps being met, we want to officially recognize Berry County as a storm-ready county today. This was actually officially done on February 18th, but we're obviously going to recognize that today. So what I have here is for various different people. I have a certificate recognizing this, and I also have a letter recognizing that also. And so this one I would like to present to the board. And essentially representing the Berry County government. The next one that I have, same thing, it's a certificate and a letter. I'd like to present this to Patrick's. Thanks, sir. And also it goes to Jim too, he gets credit for that also.
He's got the office now.
You started it though. So we also have a certificate and letter for the Berry County Central Dispatch, because without their efforts, wouldn't be able to get that information out to the people. So I'd like to present there.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next one I have is essentially emergency management, and that includes all of Patrick's department there, so I'll hand that to him. And then finally, we have one for the Berry County Auxiliary Communications.
That'd be me now. There you go, thank you.
One final thing here is we have a road sign also that we like to try and give when we have them available. And so you can see it says Storm Ready County. This is something that we try and give to any new entity that becomes storm ready. So we'll present this to Patrick here today. And that is all I have. Can I answer any questions that anybody might have on this?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
How many other counties have this? Are prepared as what we are in Berry?
In Michigan, I would say it is probably less than a quarter of the counties. So it's kind of a valued thing. Some counties just don't want to go through the process of recognizing it officially, but it's something that is very important. You can let the citizens know that the county is working very hard to protect their lives in situations of bad weather, so.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate to have Jim and Patrick.
They've been great partners to work with as far as the National Weather Service is concerned. And I forget what the event is coming up in the summer.
Rock the Country.
Rock the Country, that is something that we will be supporting the emergency management with for any kind of hazardous weather. Because obviously there's a lot of vulnerability there for people attending that. And we'll be working very closely with Mr. Jansen's and giving him alerts and heads up on different types of weather expected for that, so. Any other questions?
Additional questions from commissioners?
I looked it up, so there's 23 counties. So I think it puts us in a really good position. Allegan to our west, and then Calhoun County to our south. But there's nobody to the north or to the northeast, so that's a good spot to be in.
Yes.
We like to be a leader. Have you experienced any effects of budget cuts in your office?
It has been interesting over the last few years. We are supported by the federal government, and so I will say that, yes, we've been affected by the shutdowns and trying to be more efficient with government resources, so we do that. But the main thing that we do is we are always going to do the best job that we can with what we are given. I will tell you that with the 4,000 employees of the National Weather Service nationwide, that we are a very dedicated set of people that our main goal is to save lives and property. And so whether it be, we try to stay out of the political part of things, but we just do the best that we can with the resources that we have. And we have people that are working 24/7. Last week, I was working midnight shifts from 12 midnight till 8 a.m. in the morning. And on Friday with that event that happened, I worked from 4 p.m. until 4 a.m. along with my counterparts to make sure that people in southwest Michigan, including Berry County, are as safe as possible from the weather.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
One question, what's the trend right now? Because growing up, there was always warning sirens. So we were in a populated area. At a Berry Township meeting a couple of years ago, they were talking about warning sirens versus just phone technology and people getting alerts on their phone.
Sure.
So what's the trend, or where are we going with that? Because they used to test the sirens the first,
Sure.
Friday at noon, or whatever the case is.
Yep. So one of the first things I want to mention is the sirens, those are outdoor sirens. The main purpose of those are for people that are outside. And one of the questions that we always get during, say, a tornado event, and some people heard the sirens, others are like, well, I didn't hear it. That is not meant to be heard out or inside a building, inside a house or things like that. But with regards to the progression of warnings with our phone, one of the things with tornadoes is the WEA, the Wireless Emergency Alert. That is something where if you have a smartphone and you're within a tower that has the polygon of a tornado warning, it automatically will warn you as long as you didn't opt out of that with your phone carrier. And so that is a wonderful thing. I remember being in Kansas City once, away from home. I was actually working, but I got notified on my phone because it was actually a flash flood at that point, but something that's very important. And thankfully, that is there. Not everybody has those, and so that's why we talk about no other radios. They're still relevant. And then obviously, whether it be their favorite TV station, TV meteorologist, and things like that. So there's lots of different things, lots of technology that are available, and that's why we like to look at the redundancy for all those things. So, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I didn't know, because you just don't hear about sirens going up anymore. It's almost like an old or outdated technology.
Yeah, and I know from experience in working with emergency managers such as Patrick, that the amount that it costs for those sirens is very high, and to keep them up and everything like that. And each county decides on what their priority is. I know some counties that they have sirens, but it doesn't count, or it doesn't cover every single square foot of that county, because it's the limited in how far away you can hear that and how many they are. And then there's also certain counties, I know Kent County, that they have to alert all sirens, even if, say, maybe that there's a tornado in the northern part of the county and 30 miles away in the southern part of the county, it's clear out. And so those sirens, they were a good thing in the old times, and it's something that some communities still use if they feel that that's top priority. But the other things will catch more people and warn those people versus just the sirens outside. So hopefully that makes sense for you.
Yeah. Well, Nathan, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate Patrick's efforts and Jim's efforts to get this designation for us. A little security for the county and for our community, so we appreciate that.
Can we do a quick picture of the room?
Just so we can get commissioners up for that picture. One thing I will mention on outdoor warning sirens, there is some newer technology out there that allows for polygon alerting with those sirens as well. So what he was mentioning with the WEA alerts, that same technology exists with outdoor warning sirens. It's just a matter of upgrading to the infrastructure.
Let's do it here.
In the middle?
Everyone else in the middle. You two, sir.
Okay. You want us to come around the front?
Yes.
Okay.
I get a picture to send to Molly.
Oh, sure. We got it.
Yeah, Katie, get in the middle. All right, everyone, look my way.
Storm ready.
Ooh, not that way.
Get my good side.
Thank you. I was waiting for that comment.
$9.55.
I'm gonna fail. Thanks, everybody.
Nice, Jim.
your legs.
Thank you. Seems like a timely spot that we are going to take a recess for about 5 to 7 minutes, and then we'll continue the rest. On continue our agenda, so we have no public hearings this morning. Items for consideration. The chair will entertain a motion for approval of prepaid invoices in the amount of $2,984,432.71. So moved.
Support.
Motion by Smelker, support by Calton for approval of prepaid invoices in the amount of $2,984,432.71. Is there discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Smelker.
Aye.
Tunison. Bassett. Calton. Campbell.
Aye.
Getty. Hatfield. And Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved. Item B, the chair would entertain a motion for approval of claims in the amount of $73,535.47.
Support.
Motion by Tunison, support by Hatfield for approval of claims in the amount of $73,535.47. Discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Bassett.
Aye.
Calton.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Getty. Smelker.
Aye.
Tunison.
Aye.
Hatfield.
Aye.
And Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved. The chair will entertain a motion for approval of commissioner reimbursement mileage in the amount of $565.83.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Calton, support by Bassett for approval of commissioner reimbursement mileage in the amount of $565.83. Is there discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Calton.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Getty. Smelker.
Aye.
Tunison.
Aye.
Bassett.
Aye.
Hatfield.
Aye.
And Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved. Next up, we're down to item E on our items for consideration. Drain Commissioner Jim Dull.
Good morning, Commissioners. Glad to see you. Thanks a million for letting us come up here. We have a couple projects that we need you guys' authorization. Of course, according to Part 307, the Inland Lake Level Act says that if we're going to spend money over $10,000, we have to have the commissioners approve it. Also, if we're looking at districts, we have to have the commissioners review them when it's done. So the best thing is just to get it out in front of you. The first one is Pine Lake. Now, in '69, they set a legal lake level, which was 890 is the low level, 891 is the high level. They put in an augmentation well that directed us, if the lake got at or below 890, we pumped the water in. But in the 90s, they sued the drain commissioner because their water was 893 and a half, and the upper level was 891. So they sued the drain commissioner to find a solution, an outlet. And they went through, I think, 6 years of court proceedings. And the final result was that the judge, I believe it was Judge Fisher, said, okay, we'll take off the low level and we'll take off the high level and we'll just say 890.5 is the normal level with seasonal variations. Fast forward to 2018, 17, 18, 19, the lake was at 894.5. So significantly above, and it stayed there for years. So we had a big meeting. The presentation is in here with a lot of people from there. We had a sign-in sheet, about a quarter of them signed in, most of them don't. And they asked us to move forward with finding a solution for the high level. We went and got the resolution from the county to spend the money to find a solution. We did get to find a tentative solution. We did get a DEQ permit in '23 that is good through '28. We didn't get a chance to test it because the commissioners in '23 said, okay, we'll give you full faith and credit, which allows Rob Raines to give us an irrevocable line of credit, which we have to put the permit in force. And we got the full faith and credit, but at the time the commissioner said, okay, well, a lot of the people don't want anything done, so don't do any more unless there's a petition to reset the lake level and also an emergency situation, which we've not had either one of them. So we went through We got roughly $320,000 into this. We have a district that was set in '69, evidently reviewed in the '90s, because we have a number of parcels that on the newer roll were at zero benefit, and I've looked them up and they're lakefront. I mean, they should be at a regular percentage, just like any other lake lot. Also, in the meantime, Allegan has chose to create a keyhole on their side of Doster Road, which gives 40 more properties deeded access. They should be in the roll. And so, and Prairieville's talked to me about it, Ted DeVries has talked to me about it and said, hey, you gotta get this corrected. So for us to do that, we have to have a resolution from Berry County directing us to do it, and then we have to go to Allegan County, which is Chris Michela's the drain commissioner over there now, and I've talked to him, to reset this. And then Doug is gonna explain to you the steps that we have to go forward once we have that resolution.
Okay, so what really, just to summarize, rather than I mean, you all have probably been through this lake level stuff. We're not asking to change the lake level, but we want to get the assessment district right, so those are benefiting are paying. So once we get, if you choose to sign this resolution which reflects that request, then we will file a case in likely Berry County, because most of the lakes in Berry County, notice all the property owners that we're not changing the lake level. I mean, we might, the court might want us to affirm the lake level, which is fine. We can do that. We'll leave that to them, or the court, the judge. But then there's a hearing, there's notice, and there's appeal periods if in fact they believe they're not benefiting. This is, it should, knock on wood, relatively simple, but there, anything could get, with appeals, it could get difficult. But that's really what we're looking for, is confirmation from both the Berry County Board of Commissioners and Allegan County Board of Commissioners to amend the existing district assessment roll so that we can add the properties that are benefiting, so it's an equitable share for everyone.
Okay. Is this the document that was in our packet that says steps? Or is that a different
Yeah, we
document?
created that at my law firm, and there's a number of steps there. I kind of probably left those out. I could go through it.
It's a lot more complicated than what you just said.
Yeah, there's a lot of notices, a lot of, it's a lot of due process, and it's important. Oops, it's very important, no doubt.
So the key thing is that what we're doing is basically resetting the assessment roll. We're updating the assessment roll.
Exactly.
And the district. The line will change, we hope, to include Allegan.
Okay. And when it says things in here about court holds a hearing affirming the normal lake level, determines the lake level project, computation of cost, there's no lake level project.
No, we have one, that we could move forward with, and the engineer has suggested, he said, at least see if you can set the structures down near your Doster Lake, or Doster Road, because he said, if you let this permit get away, they will never get a permit in the future. The way DEQ is going, they flat won't ever entertain it again. He didn't say run a pipe away or anything, just get them struck. And I said, well, I'll bring it up. I said, we got a year, well, it expires in 2028, the permit. I said, I'll bring it up, leave it to their thoughts whether they want to get those structures in or not. That also begs the question, Rob Raines has got us the irrevocable line of credit. If the commissioners say flat, we're not going to act on this permit, which you guys have the right to do it, then I'm going to tell Rob that we don't need that irrevocable line of credit anymore, therefore we'll let that go away and that continuing cost will go away, which ain't very much. I mean, it's maybe $1,000 a year, but it's, it's still more cost, so.
To put a structure in that goes to nowhere, though, it doesn't seem like it'd be a wise expenditure, especially in regards to the angst that we've got from Pine Lake residents.
Yeah, it's a tough one. His point is, it is in wetlands. Right now, the water's down, this is the time to do it. if you wait 20 years when the water will come up, and historically it has, that may be underwater and you won't have that availability. And two, it will be wetlands, and they're getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse about it. And until somebody takes them to court and tells them to back off, or some other change in the hierarchy in the state, it's not gonna get better for us. So,
Are you suggesting that the structure is a decision made by this board versus having a meeting and talking to Pine Lake residents and getting input, whether they want the structure or not?
we could send out a survey if it helps, and just say, hey, do you guys want us to, look at this?
There's so much misinformation that gets circulated in these things, it's almost impossible. They're gonna go back to the fact that you're gonna try to stick them with.
Oh, yeah, well, and I get it. I mean, it's just disappointing that they ever set a lake level on a lake and created a way to pump water on, but never had a way to get rid of it. I mean, you're basically, taking care of less than half the people. But
Yeah, even, that was a 96 court opinion by your Berry County Circuit Court then, talked about the high cost of trying to figure out an outlet. At that time, it was well over $1 million. What are we, 30 years later?
Yeah.
Right.
You can do the math.
It's a bad situation. I believe, if you look through the records, even Judge Schuster just said, we should just get rid of the lake level. And he was overturned at appeals, and they said, wait a minute, you don't have the power to do that. So it's been an ongoing issue, and it'll be an ongoing issue, so.
It's managed by emergency, it won't be an issue until the water's 4 feet high again, 4 feet higher again, and then they'll be here again, so.
Somebody will be back to this board, yeah.
Right? Questions from commissioners?
Well, that is my question, but then what? When it does happen
Oh,
again, then what are we gonna do?
Could I just, Commissioner Jackson, you mentioned this too, that there's two ways to start a lake level process, is either through the acts of the Board of the Commissioners, or they can always petition. So, it's not an easy petition to get, but, it's part of the process. So if they want it that bad, well, I took the stat of that. I mean, we could do what, yeah.
And the problem is, it's almost identical to Crooked Lake, that there's a dozen properties that are severely affected, several others that have wet yards, and most of them are not having an issue. So, and that's the conflict that you constantly run into with it. But just so the board is clear, today is not about resetting a lake level or spending any more money over the $320,000 that's already been spent on the previous project to look at a way to get the water out of the lake, the high water out of the lake. So it's going to reset the assessment roll. Any other questions from commissioners? Commissioner Bassett?
So I haven't, that's my district, right? So
Yeah.
I haven't heard much from, I go to township meetings, and I have not heard much conversation about this.
Yep.
And I want to be clear on the public hearing, the public input part of it. I want to understand that.
Once we get to the point of, there's several layers of that, well, that's a few. When we get to go to court, what we'll do is mail to every landowner that may be liable for an assessment, that there's a court hearing. They can make an appearance if they want. They can, at the last few, people stood up and talked. But that just sets the district. It doesn't assign a number, a cost per parcel. After that, there's another hearing, which the drain commissioner holds, where they'll get another notice that actually has the amount that they may be assessed. They can come in and say, I don't want to pay that much, or I want to pay more, or whatever the position is. And then they can appeal that to the court if they want to. So that's two notices right there, and then there's a hearing from you guys affirming the roll. They can appeal that too. So they'll get notice. The first notice they should look for is the court hearing, is whether they're in or out. That's an important one. If they think their water, they don't get any benefit from this lake whatsoever, that's the time to bring it up. Matter of fact, if they really think that, they should probably call the drain commissioner before the hearing. It's just like, we if the phone always works, it's, I'm not in, and we can make that adjustment even before the hearing, and we're all set. Or they can argue with the judge. This judge has been very good about allowing people to talk, pretty much as long as they want to. And then, benefit is, I don't know how many pieces of property on that lake. I mean,
Somewhere 600 to 650.
whack that number up, 600, and I don't know if we're gonna spread it over years or anything like that, but, so I don't know, not a tremendous amount, so.
So after that court hearing, is there another public hearing with Jim?
Yes, so that is where they get their actual assessment per year that will show up on their tax bill.
Okay, and there's another public hearing after that?
This Board of Commissioner hearing,
Oh,
just
that's-
affirming the role, which they can appeal,
Okay.
but, I feel like if they're gonna appeal, they should probably appeal what the Drain Commissioner assigned it to.
And typically with lake levels, we look at lakefront and deeded access. I think that's even in the statute, ain't it?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think they're that specific, it's just their benefits, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it leaves some discretion.
Lots.
You might have, I don't know, you might have a party store across the street that sells all the, this is my best example, or a marina.
It's not a drain district where you can be a
No.
mile away and still get
Exactly.
assessed for water heading in that
Well, and
direction.
that's been done previously. I'm not gonna tell you which ones, where they assess by acreage. It's like-
You're right, it is, it's different,
Yeah.
right.
Jim, lakefront versus deeded access.
Yeah.
Does that work out equality?
No.
And no, it's different.
Well, let me qualify it. We've reviewed some where they did, that they said, well, you're in the district, you get, it's really hard to understand that. I mean, if you've got a boat and a dock, I think you get a lot more benefit than the guy over there that can go down to the landing at Algonquin Lake and put his boat in and go out and come back and leave for the day.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
typically, like on the weed assessment at Gun Lake, I think it's about half. It's 130 for a lakefront, and it's like 70 for the deeded access.
Because, obviously you're aware, like Wall Lake and things like that, you'll have a deeded access, but it'll be a manicured lawn and everything else, and nobody's drove across it in 100 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we look at that because to me,
Okay.
it's, and everybody spends it different.
So if we don't go ahead with any project and we amend the district, then at that point, we'll recoup the $320,000?
Yep.
And what's it gonna cost us to do that?
That's Stowe's question.
I'm sorry, I was like, but if you wanna, if you don't do it,
No, he's saying, what's it gonna cost in court?
oh,
The engineer said they will be less than whatever the lawyers charge.
if you can tell me who's gonna challenge it, I could probably give you a better guess, it'd be just that.
But the bottom line is
Yeah.
that all that cost is also recoverable
That's,
through the special assessment.
so it'll be the 320?
320.
Plus, we're gonna have an engineering we gotta, well, we've already done the engineering study, we really don't need that.
No.
All right, I'll maybe update it. We don't need any easements.
If we're recovering it all,
Yeah.
then
You know.
I'm not as concerned about the detail. But
So,
That'll all be rolled into comp costs when we get done, everything that we've got into it.
yeah, court,
Including the letters that go out in the whole 9 yards.
publication, we gotta publish, we gotta send letters out, we gotta file a court action, we gotta appear for the court action, we gotta prepare for the court action, we gotta handle any appeals, the engineer's gotta do an assessment roll, we gotta come back here. I mean, and the other thing is Allegan County's gotta do the same thing, which Commissioner Bassett, I was gonna mention, wouldn't affect your constituents, but the people in Allegan would go argue there about their costs, so. 'cause
So,
the-
I guess the one other question I'd ask then is, by correcting the roll, we're gonna spread this cost among more people.
Correct.
but how much added cost are we going to have in order to do that versus just assessing the 320 to the role that's there right now?
Boy, I mean, I'd like to get the role right. If I was a landowner in Berry County and I found out the role wasn't right, I might file a court action. So I can't predict that. I don't mean to be difficult.
No, I understand. It just seems to me that, if it's going to cost them more to have us correct the role, than if we just work with what we've got, it would be silly for them to not, if it's saving them money, I would think that something.
You're gonna have a lot of people mad in Prairieville.
I don't.
But not if you're saving them money.
Right. Commissioner Hatfield.
I approached that with Ted DeVries. I said, if we got $30,000 more in here, and he said it should be done correctly. And at the end, we're gonna have the commissioners.
If this goes as planned, I doubt that will be the case. That's all I can say. And it is a fair question, because people will call me about, I've got this problem, I lost $10,000 in this deal, and I said, well, if I file a complaint, it's gonna cost you $12,000.
Right.
What do you wanna do? So I turn people away frequently, just send them a mean letter and see what happens, so.
Well, if you're saying, to Commissioner Hatfield's point, that this is a $20,000 or $30,000 issue versus a $100,000 issue, which is a 25% increase in the cost, that makes a difference. So if it's gonna be 20 or 30,000,
It depends on the appeal. If somebody appeals it, they can really cost us a lot of money. What grounds they would appeal on would be, I ain't sure.
Yeah.
Well, we'll hear about it, so we just want to be sure that we have an understanding, so that's a good question. Any other questions from commissioners?
Catherine
I have a
does.
question.
I got one too.
I'm a little concerned that this is starting here instead of with the people by petition. And because we've heard from so many people over the years on it, and there's nobody here. So I don't know if it's, if it's people driven. I understand the rationale. I just.
We don't have to do this at this time if the county's willing to set on the $330,000.
We would have the authority to bill the district, right?
The existing district?
That's the direction we're looking for. Do you want us to correct the role? Do you want, whatever we do?
It should be.
We can't do anything
I think it
without
should
the
be corrected,
authority.
but I wish the people were speaking to it.
It just seems liability-wise, we'd want to correct the role.
Yeah.
That's what we attempt in our office to get.
I get it, I guess. I mean, I wish I had a better answer for it. I wish I knew exactly how much it would cost. I could tell you I've been done dozens of lake levels. I've never seen a landowner petition. It's so hard to get. You gotta get 50%. I mean, as Commissioner Jackson pointed out, the people with the problem represent 5% of the lake, maybe 10% at best. So.
Mr. Chair.
So either way is okay with me. And
Well, I guess my concern is that I have not heard this from my constituents. I haven't heard a lot of dialogue about it, and I feel a little ill-prepared to vote on it today. I mean,
We don't have to do the math.
if,
and come back.
we table it,
Try to do the
give me,
math and come
a
back.
couple weeks, and maybe talk to
The math,
constituents and
how much it'll
township
cost.
people to get an understanding of what does the public know about this? What do they think about it?
Well, I'm assuming they're not gonna wanna get assessed if they didn't, okay. So, I mean, seriously, are they gonna bring it up on their own? No. I mean, but we've incurred this debt as the county, correct? I mean,
Well,
so
and
we
if
don't
they
live
know-
there.
And if they know there's 40 homeowners on the lake that are not being assessed, I understand,
I think that's been an ongoing issue for a long, long time, that they're not paying their share.
probably more than 40. I'd be surprised if it was 40, but that's just that one, you're talking about just the one cut out there in Allegan County, but, so the issue is, the county needs to recoup their $320,000. We can do it on the existing assessment roll like that, but you're not fairly spreading that cost around to all the people.
Right.
So, and as long as, like I said, this isn't a $100,000 expense that you're gonna add to this, you know, I see the benefit and the fairness in getting this set, because it hasn't been corrected in 40 years?
Percentage since 1969.
Well, the land.
And the
The
district.
land, right. I think it's at least 40 years.
Yeah, well.
Well, I don't know when that little cove was built in Allegan County, I have no idea. Yeah.
In the 90s, I mean, the assessment roll we got shows, and it had to have been, must have been changed in the 90s, because the previous would have been 69, and that would have been the people that are on the regular percentage, so.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
Is there more work to be done to fix the problem out there, or are we kind of done
Water's
with
down
the
right now.
300?
The answer's
Well, the
no.
water's down now.
Yeah.
But
We're not proposing, let me try to, we're
problem
not
is
proposing to
not
do
solved.
work as part of this.
not this thing.
No,
Someday,
But there is a
if there's
solution
work
that's needed, correct?
We'll have to come back.
no. Hopefully I won't be in here, because
No.
I don't want to go through this again.
There's no
It's-
more, with the Eagle permit that you referenced, that we probably wouldn't get again
Yep.
because of maybe changing standards of review.
I see what you're getting at, is there work that could be done
Yeah.
according to the permit that would move us forward possibly in the future?
Yeah, because didn't you say that it's kind of important to do some work during this
The
2-year
engineer is
period?
saying we should get them structures set, because
Oh,
later,
I didn't
when
understand.
this comes back, which historically it seems to be coming back, they probably will never get a permit to do the design, any of the design that we got.
Those are structured for the wetland. I'm sorry, I'm learning something here too. I thought that, well, there's a difference between an outlet and dealing with that wetland. So you're right, I guess there is a little work, or I have no idea.
This resolution will not authorize us to do any boots on the ground work. It's simply paperwork to get the right people paying the right percentage and avoiding any, I mean, we can assess with the roll that's there. We can also probably get an appeal or a number of appeals from people that say, wait a minute, this ain't right and I'm not paying it, because they're not paying a dime, because accidentally Tammy assessed the first year of this project. She went down through the rolls and seen, oh, there's X amount owed. She sent 40,000 and people come unglued. Well, my neighbor didn't get a bill. They didn't get a bill. I want this fixed. It's like, okay, in the future, we'll look at it. So, but all this has to, you guys get the pleasure of deciding, thank God. With us, our drains are typically 100%. But on lake levels, it falls to the commissioners, which I know you guys didn't sign up for this, but.
I'm not speaking out of turn, Mr. Chairman. It makes sense that if everybody's have access to that lake, then they should have to pay their fair share, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and I'm in favor of moving forward with the resolution, because they do have a voice in this. That is, it starts, there's 2 reviews and notices that are gonna come through this.
Well, he's talking about, we gotta go to Allegan County to do the same thing, get the same resolution. If they say no, then
we assess
we're
the
where we
district as it
are.
is.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Oh, so.
Well, it's,
Sorry. No,
it's,
speak out of turn.
yeah, it's,
So if they vote no, then we're back. Then
Yeah.
Does this still stand then, that we would still look at it?
the statute, if a lake is in 2 counties, the statute, it doesn't provide any guidance, it just says you have to have a resolution for both counties. So we're back to where we started, you know. Wish it elaborated a little bit, it's a short statute, you know, what happens if, you know?
Commissioner Smelker?
So if I understand this right, Allegan County could vote no, and Berry County taxpayers could pay for this, which would benefit Allegan County. Is there any repercussions if they vote no?
I'll get back with you on that. I don't know. That's a really good question. I mean, this is kind of making me think about, this seems like,
Poorly written legislation.
Yeah, seems like there's some holes in the legislation, you know?
One more question. Is there a benefit to us to wait to see what Allegan does before we do this?
That's not really
When we
legal.
did the previous resolution, they just followed lockstep. They said, okay, yeah, Berry County's paying 95% of this, you know, we're fine with moving forward. And we had people over there that, you know, asked for the resolution when we wanted to do a project, so it's kind of, or you can wait a couple of weeks and think about it.
No, we need to do it.
But it's not gonna be a quick process.
Okay.
And Judge Alspar, she's phenomenal with us on lake levels, so, and it'll be going to her
Yeah.
court, I believe. so.
Yep. Did a nice job with those last two.
Well, and I think to Commissioner Bassett's point, the constituents you'd be talking to are already in the district.
Yeah.
So the ones that are getting the free ride are the ones that are in the district that need to be included.
No, there's a number of them in the district that have 0%. All the ones on Valley Drive, I looked up a number of them, and they're like lakefront. It's like, I'm assuming that at one time, that was just one piece of property, and they built all these houses on there, and so they tried to correct it at that time, but didn't bring it to the commissioners to confirm the role, so they couldn't change it.
And that's in Berry County?
Yeah. That's what ticked them off, because
Well, yeah.
my neighbor,
Yeah,
I'm
it
paying
makes
X
sense.
amount, and my neighbor didn't pay anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds reasonable to me that we need to start the process to
Yeah.
fix this, and at some point, we need to recoup our $320,000. Doug, do it as inexpensively as possible for the benefit of our constituents, please.
Got my marching orders, I will do that.
Additional questions or discussion?
No, just a comment that we're talking about straightening up the entire rolls. We're kind of focusing on the little area that Allegan owns, but we're fixing the whole thing.
Okay. The chair will entertain a motion for adoption of Resolution 26-10, authorizing Berry County Drain Commissioner to take legal action to amend the Pine Lake Special Assessment District boundaries pursuant to Part 307 of the Michigan National Resources and Environmental Protection Act.
So moved.
Motion by Tunison, support by Smelker. Any questions on the motion or further discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Getty,
Aye.
Aye.
Smelker, Tunison,
Aye.
Bassett,
Aye.
Calton's left, Campbell,
Aye.
Hatfield,
Aye.
and Jackson.
Aye. The adoption of the resolution is approved.
Thanks, guys, I think.
Podunk Lake.
Careful what you wish for.
Special Assessment District. Podunk Lake was established as a legal lake level in 1958, and they never set a district. So we brought you I think there's a 10-step thing there that has to be done. We did get the repairs done. They look phenomenal. If you go drive down M43 and look at Podunk Lake, you'll see the dam, it's all painted. We had to have extra riprap because there was more that needed a little more than what we anticipated. We got that done for $6,000. The engineers looked at it, said it looks great, so that's one off our list.
Okay.
To set a roll, we have to go through the 10 steps?
Yeah, I mean, this is similar to what we just talked about, but there is, we have a lake level that we're not intending to change other than maybe update it to modern day measurement standards, which is what? I don't know what it means, but NAVD 88, whatever that means, but that's,
It's just setting up NAVD, National something vertical datum 29, and that's been changed since this court order. It's about a 6-inch change.
No change there, right? So, but here we have no roll, no district, no nothing. So we've got to go through the process. We got the steps outlined, I think, somewhere. And this is the first step, starting with the commissioners. We got the steps, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're in a roll.
Sorry, I just had them in my hand. Oh, here. You've got these two, Commissioner Jackson. There's, we'll do a report. The engineers will do a report. The good thing with this one is we're not, if you're not proposing to change the level, it's a lot less work for the engineers because, if you were, then you have to look for how it affects riparian or the ecology of the system, docks, possible septic fields, that kind of thing. But it's been this way for, I don't know, 70 years, something, so that'll be a little more, little easier. Then we'll petition the court, go through that process. Notices will go out to everyone who will be in the proposed district. They'll issue an order, they'll probably confirm the lake level. That's what we'll be asking for anyway. Prepare a computation of costs, send another mailing out where people can get their actual assessment, and they can come in and argue about that, or not, and then we'll come back here to confirm the roll once that day, the hearing for the assessment roll is done.
So as we've discussed Podunk Lake and the dam over the last couple of years, I think the thing that came to our attention was the fact that the county has been picking up the tab for the dam inspections and the improvements forever.
Yeah.
So basically, all the taxpayers in the county are paying for Podunk Lake, where it should be assessed to the residents of the lake who are getting the benefit. Was that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. So that's why we're looking at establishing assessment district for Podunk Lake for the first time, new assessment district. Okay. That's a simplification of the process that Doug's gonna have to go through again, but again, as long as you tell us that this isn't gonna be $100,000 assessed on a $10,000 dam repair, then,
Yeah, it's a good point. I feel like those dam repairs, you've been getting notices to deal with the dam without, in your predecessors, without any way to spread the cost. And notices from Eagle, dam safety unit. So, there's nowhere to put them.
One question I do ask from the commissioners, and Commissioner Hatfield raised it, how far back, the latest engineering inspection, I get charging the dam repairs that were recently done, but like David said, is it fair to go to these people and assess them for work that was done 10, 15, 20 years ago when possibly they didn't own any of the property? And if we don't want to spread that, I ask that the commissioners make us whole on everything that we don't assess.
Yeah, I would say current.
I would, from a lawyer's perspective, well, maybe I should go on record. I don't know, but I feel like current is not going to raise any legal issues.
Yeah.
Recent, I would
It's
say.
tough to go back and assess somebody for something that was done 20 years ago and they didn't own property there,
Yeah.
so, but current, they're getting the benefit of it, they live there now. So I think that'd be a reasonable expectation for someone that lives on a lake.
Yeah.
If the district had been created back when, would it have changed the decision-making process on what work was being done as far as inspections and things, or it still was a directive to us?
Yeah.
And the residents would not have had any input?
Correct. Yeah, once they establish that lake level through the courts, it's the county's responsibility to make sure the inspections and the maintenance and everything is done. And that's why and it says right in there, they may set up a special assessment district to offset them costs. But yeah, we don't have, Eagle tells us, and that's where I had a discussion with Thomas back in 21. He says, you gotta do this. I says, you show me the signed judge's order and I'll inspect it. And it took him 3 years to find it. And well, we had one, it wasn't signed, and luckily Sarah was able to find it in our records after he said he had one, but it didn't look right. So she did a lot of digging for us. and found the actual signed court order from 58, so.
58, okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Jim, can you answer me a question? Without this assessment district, who's on the hook for that dam if the dam were to fail?
The county.
I don't know about that. Well, I mean, do you have an easement for that?
I mean, because there is no district, right?
Yeah.
But by doing this,
It would be messy.
would alleviate the county, or just be on the
Oh, yeah.
residents?
Well,
the-
if it
the dam
failed, sorry, if it failed,
Yeah, I'm just giving an example, if we got, 12 inches of rain or something,
it wouldn't, I don't know how it'd shake out, but you certainly would be part of any sort of enforcement action, I suspect. So
We own the dam.
Well, I don't, there's been work by the county. See, once we started down that road, I don't know if,
Well, the way the law says is the county's on the hook for maintenance and inspections. And so, it's kind of like the Algonquin Lake Dam out there, it's really squishy. The association wants to own the dam, we're the delegated authority, we're still responsible for it. If something goes bad, we have to get it fixed, but then we can spread it back to those people. And this has been an ongoing discussion with me and Craig Manzer and Mark Nettleton for the last year for our insurance. Eric contacted me and said, hey, how much insurance are we supposed to have on these? Well, nobody seems to really know who's liable for what.
that's kind of what he's right, there's that theory, the county's gonna be liable for it, but but you have this mixed bag of statutes, the dam statute, the lake level statute, you have ownership of the property, it'd be messy. I mean.
It's kind of like the Gun Lake Dam when that failed in, 3 years trying to figure out.
You know what do you have a number what the current cost of Podunk Lake dam repairs would be at this point? Is that, you mentioned 6,000,
Yeah,
but.
we just brought everything up to snuff and it was $6,000.
Okay.
We haven't done any maintenance on it in 10, 15, 20 years.
Okay, is this a similar process where you're thinking this could be $10,000 or $20,000 to set an establishment, to set the district, an assessment district? To go through the courts, to do the hearings, to do the hearings?
I mean, I don't know what I said, 10 or 20,000, but yeah, that sounds like a reasonable range, for that. I'll try to get under there, do the best I can to be efficient. And we've done these before, which helps.
I mean, that'll be the issue, is that you're spending $6,000, but now we're spending $26,000 to set the district to recoup $6,000.
Yep.
Now, it needs to be done because the lake's gonna be there for 100 years and there's gonna be other repairs and things needed, so, but still, that seems like a big expense for a very small dam.
Yeah. Well, and thank God they wrote the statute that it's on the commissioners.
Yeah.
I have a question. When Irving Dam went out, who footed that bill?
FERC. FERC took care of it, and the owner of the dam paid for it, Scott. And we got involved just trying to help initiate getting that done, with whatever we could. We had no cost in it, and, but that, because it looked terrible. But that's under Federal Energy Resources Commission, so they're a whole different animal.
I hope so.
And they had to have all the plans approved in Washington DC.
Was that a hydroelectric dam? Okay, that's a different kind of dam.
So, yeah.
Any further questions or comments from commissioners? Commissioner Bassett, that's quite a scowl you have over there.
I know, I'm just trying to think this through. I mean, okay, let's say we vote this down, right? So everything stays as is, but nothing happens, and all of a sudden, there is something that comes up on the lake that needs to be taken care of. How much of a process, how long is this process to set up an assessment district then, when there's more need for it?
If the dam blew out.
If the dam blew out?
Well, no, I know, then you have
I don't know
but
what else could come up on the,
lake levels, I mean, yeah.
well, unless the dam fails, the lake level's not gonna
Lake level's under
change.
control,
So,
okay.
yeah, it's gonna stay where it is. Well, I'm not sure, absent seasonal variations and things, yeah. Or some sort of drought, historic drought, So I don't know what would prompt any other need for legal action other than a failure. I mean, this is just to have an assessment district established.
Yeah.
That's all it is, so.
Would this assessment district do anything if they decided to have weed control, or if they decided to
That's
do...
a different statute.
improvements? Okay.
There's something called the Lake Improvement Statute, which they can set up their own lake improvement board where then you do your weed control and other enhancements to your lake. This is strictly, keep it at 880, and that's it.
And what do you, I don't know if you have a projection for the ongoing cost of dam maintenance? Have you got 3-year inspections, is that what you had mentioned?
Yeah, I think they're around $2,000 every 3 years. It's minimal.
Okay.
And I would assume the way they redid it this year, that we ain't gonna do that, any maintenance on it for a long time.
Okay. Okay, commissioners, that is the question. We want to authorize another assessment district, which has yet to be done ever in the history of Podunk Lake. So the residents so we can recoup our cost. The chance of that dam blowing out with the repairs that have been made is probably minimal, but if it's in place, that's in place forever, so.
Well, you ask them for,
It's just that.
well, I guess my only thing is, we don't live on the lake. When you live on a lake, lakes come with a cost, right? I mean, so things happen, so I mean, you gotta put gas in your boat all the time and everything else. So I mean, there's property taxes that keep going up every year and everything else. Same with this.
Yeah,
You choose to live there, right?
It's unfortunate that in this case you have such a small lake,
Yes.
but I think we need to be consistent with how we treat any lake. And it makes no sense for us to be bearing costs that are associated with the maintenance of that lake. So it's unfortunate that it's going to cost as much as it is to establish the district, but I think we have to do it.
Agree.
So,
Okay.
I will so
That's the
move.
point.
With that said,
I support.
Chair will move, or will request the adoption of Resolution 26-11, authorizing the Berry County Drain Commissioner to take legal action to establish the Podunk Lake Special Assessment District pursuant to Part 307 of the Michigan National Resource and Environmental Protection Act. Motion by Hatfield, support by...
I've got one bit of discussion before I put that on there. Have you talked to Rutland about this?
No, I haven't.
I'm a little concerned about Rutland not being notified, because I remember they talked about that a couple years ago when we were talking about this. So that's my only concern, is that Rutland has not been notified that their residents are going to be hit with this. Okay, so I don't know what to say about that.
Technically, they're not getting hit with anything, we're just putting the wheels in place in case in the future there is a cost.
No, there will be a
No, there will
cost.
be a
for
cost.
this. To set the lake level assessment district, there will be a cost to them that'll be assessed over.
Okay.
Well, however long.
To their landowners in the township, not the township, unless the township owns property or something,
Yeah.
but no.
How many landowners was it, Jim?
Chad did a quick number that looks like about 95. So, between the lakefront and the lake back lots. And we will ask the township, we'll have to go to them and see if they want to, get a percentage of this. They can, they don't have to. And we'll also ask the county, because that's what we like to spread the love.
I think we've already been paying our share, so...
Yeah, well, and that would be the argument I'd make.
I agree. So I'll support that.
Okay. You're going to support? Okay, motion by Hatfield, support by Tunison. Any questions on the motion? We've had a discussion. You've learned a lot about lake levels and assessment districts this morning. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Smelker. Smelker.
Yes.
Tunison.
Aye.
Bassett.
Aye.
Colton's absent. Campbell.
Aye.
Getty.
Aye.
Hatfield.
Aye.
And Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved.
Okay,
Thank you, gentlemen.
everyone.
Have fun.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun, all right. Moving on with our agenda, no new business. County Administrator's report.
Morning, Commissioners, Mr. Chair. A lot going on in the county right now. A few things I wanted to share with all of you. You'll have another opioid settlement to consider in the next few weeks, next few meetings, shall we say. I don't have an amount yet. It's on one of those percentages of the whole amount and formula, so when I get that, we'll bring that to the meeting, you'll have that information. Just want to let you know that is coming. We're in the middle of our audit, so lots of work going on that front. A couple different things, planning and zoning scams. I don't know if you've heard this lately, but City of Marshall, City of Coldwater have put out that people are scraping information off of public information on websites, and sending out invoices saying, hey, you owe $5,000 for this fee. And people have sent checks. Luckily, in one case, it was the City of Coldwater, they sent the check to the city, not to the address that they said to send it to, because they cut their normal process, send it out. So we're just encouraging that our residents be, aware that you'll hear directly from our department if there are any fees that go out, and to be vigilant. Our IT department has been pushing this issue across all of us. There's training that we do as staff on a quarterly basis. There's training available to all of you, so I would encourage you when you get those emails to please take that training. It's just more and more they're finding ways to try and scam people, and now they're using our information and making it look like it's coming from us when truly it's not. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. It's something you may want to share with your townships as you go around, some of them, especially if they send out any information. Another fun issue for us, there's a change to the Title II of the American Disabilities Act that impacts websites and how we share information and formatting. There's accessibility standards that we have to meet by April 24th. So from that date going forward, we have to meet certain standards on how we post PDFs and how readers can work. So we're exempt from everything before that, but our website company has taken a look at the structure of what they provide. As staff, we'll be working to ensure that we're putting our best foot forward to make sure we're complying with that and making our information accessible to our residents. All the fun stuff we get to deal with. But yeah, if we had to go back and all the things on our website, all the packets, so packets are a big problem. So we're really going to have a discussion, so we scan things in, that's not necessarily being able to be read by some of the accessibility tools. So this is could be some big changes for us, so we're really going to, over the next 6 weeks, have to buckle down to make sure we're prepared for this. Zoning preemption lawsuit, or laws, two issues on this one. I was asked at a previous meeting about the lawsuit that was filed about the solar and wind with the PSC approval. There's an appeal on April 15th. I can send you the information if you want to listen to the court. This is the Foster Swift lawsuit with all the townships that we couldn't get involved in because we were just late to the table on that one. But they're appealing the lower court ruling to try and get the ability for the PSC to preempt local zoning. Your guess is as good as mine as how it's going to go, but just wanted to let you know that is still moving forward. Nothing's been decided officially. And then you may have seen, if you follow anything in MAC or MTA or MML, zoning preemption bills have been introduced, which to me it's the same issue as the solar and wind. They're trying to encourage different types of housing, saying, hey, we need to allow smaller lots, we need to allow different setbacks, we need to allow these different standards and make them statewide. Well, I have a problem of not every community wants to be the same. And I'm very big pro on what we can do to help housing. I don't think this is the right step. And the funny thing on this one, this is a bipartisan effort. Republican and Democrat both have put this up, and which is driving me nuts. The Michigan Planning Association of Planning has come out in support of it, which completely blows my mind when MAC and the other entities are coming out against it. Once again, they mean well, but I think it's the wrong step. We shouldn't have the state telling us how we as locals zone. So I know Jeff and I have talked about it. We'll continue to follow that and we'll provide more information as that moves forward. Last couple things for you. Software update. Just want to let you all know, as you've approved the software purchases for us this year, BSNA, our change to our financial software will go live August 31st. So between now and August 31st, admin and a few departments will have a lot of work to do. We're going to have a very comprehensive training program with staff impacted, with more of that information being shared with them in the near future. NeoGov, which we're moving to with payroll, will go live end of July, early August. We're still working on that exact date. So, let's say we'll have more information for you as well as end user training, and but Bart and Jeff will have carry most of the water on that one. But we are moving forward, and if we follow these timelines, we will be ahead of our deadline with Tyler, which, and plus I think it'll move us in the right direction. And to answer the question from Commissioner Bass on the Kalamazoo transfer hazardous waste hours, Tuesday and Friday 8 to 1, Wednesdays 12 to 6, and the second Saturday of the month 8 to noon, with, except for they're not open on Saturdays in August and September.
Okay, thanks.
So,
Complicated.
yeah, just,
But the question comes up and
you'll have the information, so, but yeah, today's day 2 back from vacation, so playing catch up and everything, and happy to answer your questions.
Something else you might want to mention, kind of goes hand in hand with the, what the state is doing on zoning preemption, is the fact that there's also a revival of sewer or septic inspections.
Yeah, I didn't get through that one fully in the MAC. If you saw MAC put something out on Friday, if you get that, there was some information on it in there. We'll continue to monitor that, and I know we'll have those conversations with the health department. I guess I just will mention that we've had a resident from Thornapple Lake ask us to ask about getting sewer on the lake, and we're providing information. We're convening a meeting to let the individual get that meeting. I know the health department is interested in moving on this because of some problems at Thornapple Lake, but I just want to be clear, we are not driving it. We're not pushing for it yet, or if ever. We are just at the request of a resident and some entities scheduling this meeting. So more will come on that. I've invited the commissioners impacted, whose district that covers that area, as well as Nashville and Hastings folks and the township reps from those areas, plus Dan Patton and a whole bunch of other people. So just an FYI. Any other questions?
All good. Thank you all. Chairperson's report, I am all set. Vice Chairperson's report, Commissioner Hatfield.
One thing I want to mention, I attended the Hastings City Council meeting last night. The one surprising comment was that our long-serving city mayor, Dave Tassava, announced that he would be retiring at the end of this calendar year, which will trigger an election as part of this fall's election to elect a new mayor. So Dave has, there'll be an appropriate time to acknowledge all of his contributions, which I think have been many, but we'll have time to do that later. And I'm glad to see John Rezegi, who is a council member and past mayor pro tem, here today. So thank you, John.
Okay. Commissioner reports, Commissioner Bassett.
Yeah, I have Yankee Springs and Southwest Michigan Regional Behavioral Health this week, and then Substance Use Disorder Operations Policy Committee next week.
Commissioner Getty.
I had Thornapple Township last night. They passed their budget for the 26-27 year. And I attended part of the Village of Middleville's interviews to fill 2 vacant positions. They had 5 candidates, I believe. So they were holding interviews, and then the village is also resubmitting the DNR Trust Fund grant applications to replace the pedestrian bridges and make trail improvements on the trail going south out of Middleville, and that's coupled with a MDOT TAP grant. So they're leveraging lots of resources to get that stuff repaired. And then we have Yankee Springs Township tomorrow night.
Commissioner Smelker. Commissioner Campbell.
I did go to Assyria Township and Maple Grove, and at Maple Grove we were visited by Chris from the Planning and Zoning, and it's kudos to Chris. It's nice to see him showing up at several of my meetings now, so I think the constituents appreciate that. He's got a tough job anyway, but I think they appreciate the chance to see him, so that's real nice. I'll go to Baltimore tonight, and then I'll be at Johnstown on Wednesday, so that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Tennyson.
I attended Carlton last night. They had their audit, and they're financially sound. They're doing very well out there. Hastings Charter tonight and Rutland tomorrow.
Thank you. Limited public comment at this time. Any member of the public wishing to address the board may do so for up to 3 minutes.
Good morning, Commissioners. Put this down. Your schedules recently with township meetings sound like mine. My name is Stephanie Bouet, and I work for Cordelio Power. And we are working on a wind project that has historically been in Ionia County, right on the border between Ionia and Berry and Eaton counties. And recently, the project boundaries have shifted, and we do have interested landowners that we are now partnering with in Berry County. And so now we're starting to come and introduce ourselves, talk about the project at a very high level, update you all on the progress of it, talk about it, invite you to meetings. I can come out and give presentations, things of that nature. But it was a recent change. So I wanted to come out this morning and introduce myself, let you all know about the project a little bit. Like I mentioned, I can come with a presentation. We're going to be having community open houses in the near future, probably closer to May, June. And I guess about the project a little bit. It's a 200 megawatt project. It is going to be located in 5 different townships. And for Berry County, it is just the far northeast corner of Woodland Township. It's not the entire township. We have roughly 1,700 acres under agreement in Woodland Township, and then 13,500 acres under agreement in the other combined across the entire project. We are looking at hopefully going to construction in the fall of 2028 with commercial operations at the end of 2029 is what the current schedule looks like. So we're moving forward, acquiring land, working on all of the necessary environmental work that has to be done, working with our engineers on getting a layout. That's been one of our most popular questions, is where is all of the infrastructure going? And to date, it's just been very difficult to design a project around land you hope to have versus land that is under agreement. So when landowners say, we're not going to sign your agreement until we know where your infrastructure is going, we have to say we can't really design the project unless we know who's participating. So it's been a delicate balance, but we're much closer to having a layout, especially with all of the land that we have that's under agreement with us. So it's been a long time coming. I don't know if anybody has heard about that project. It's been around since roughly 2007. Our company is the third owner of it. We purchased it in July of 2024. So I have been working on the project since roughly December of '24. So very exciting times. I know that it is a controversial topic, and we want to work with the local jurisdictions, and then, yes, with respect to the state permitting, because some of our jurisdictions that we're working in do not have ordinances, we likely will have to go to the state for that.
Okay.
And I will stop talking.
Do you have a time frame for when you'll be working with our local planning and zoning?
Yes, depending on, we would like to get the majority of our work done this year, and then we're going to start working with all of the local jurisdictions early next year.
Okay. Please keep us posted with information and updates in the open houses, so.
Yes, the community open houses, and if anybody has any ideas for locations, we had 3 of them last year. It was open to the public. They were at the Hugh House in Lake Odessa, March, July, and November. And yes, everybody, the township officials, Ione County Board received invites, so everybody here will receive invites for that.
And you said you have 1,700 acres under contract in Woodland Township?
Just in Woodland Township, yes.
Just in Woodland Township? Wow.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Additional public comment? Hearing none. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Tunison?
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't speak on this, but I'm going to. Seems how it's, we start talking about this septic code again. Anytime I hear the word mandatory, all I see is cost to Berry County residents, right? If they were to do a mandatory 5-year inspection and pump, do you think that the rates are right now at $450 to pump your tank, or $400, I don't care what it is, they're gonna stay there? They're not. Because there's not enough haulers to do it, right? There's not enough people to put in drain fields, septics, and everything else. So the cost to our residents will be so immense that the situation that was right in Hastings Charter, poor old woman, she couldn't afford to update her septic, and unfortunately, property got condemned. She couldn't live there anymore, but she couldn't afford it. So how many people are going to be able to afford a $1,000 mandatory inspection fee from the health department, a mandatory pump every 5 years, and if they deem your system to be failed, what's it going to cost you to put a new one in? That's going to be inflated. So I just think anytime you hear the word mandatory, when it comes from government, whether it be mandatory vaccinations, mandatory anything, we're losing our rights to conduct our lives the way we normally do. Is that we know when our septic needs to be pumped. We don't, am I in denial that there's some septics out there that are in bad shape, not in compliance? Yeah, there are. But the majority of people take care of what they have, and they don't need to have somebody beating on their door telling them that this is mandatory. So that's where I have a problem with that. So I would speak on it.
Thank you. Commissioner Campbell?
I'm very concerned with that also, Commissioner. But on the other hand, I do have something that is not mandatory, but would be appreciated. Saturday, we're having our first ever Blarney Bash at the Delton VFW, which I am the commander and proudly do so. We'll have food 5 to 7, and we'll have music 7 to 11. I hope sooner or later our chairman gets off the leash and can come to an event.
Talk to the nurse.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Hatfield?
I have nothing else.
Mr. Smelker?
I have nothing, but what was the date of that again, Bruce?
It's this Saturday.
Okay. Commissioner Getty? Commissioner Bassett?
I have one thing, and I put the notices on the table there. So for all the nonprofits in the Dalton area, we are putting on a community auction May 2nd and gathering things, and we're having participation from all the nonprofits in our area, so that the benefits then that we have from that auction will go to all the nonprofits that participate. But we are having what we call our own Community Antique Roadshow, and that is coming up March 12th, which is Thursday, I think, from 4 to 8 p.m. at the Berry Enrichment Center. And what that means is, like you see on the TV, you know, Antique Roadshow, we will have people there who will look at your antiques or whatever and tell you what they're worth. And there's no commitment to give it to this auction. It's just the idea of coming out, seeing what it's worth, and if you feel like it, you could donate it to the auction or not. And this auction is going to be, you can donate it, or you can put it on consignment, or you can put a minimum bid, whatever. But it's kind of fun that we have somebody there that if you got something in your closet, you wonder, I wonder what that was worth. Come on out, you can get that checked out. So there's flyers up there about that.
Okay. John, be concerned if someone asks you to go to that.
Pay for that.
Just one thing, remember next Tuesday that we missed you guys, so we're going to be here next Tuesday doing interviews. I think we have 7 different boards and commissions that will be interviewing 11 different candidates for next Tuesday, 9 o'clock. So with that, we are adjourned. Have a great day. And even though we are a weather-safe, secure community,